spaces, take hold of the ball, but as we can see in what her stats say, that doesn't stop her from being a phenomenal player.
Our referees for today's match, Izzy Blaise on screen there. Our assistant referee is Lauren Hargrave and Claire Green, and the fourth official is Rebecca Durkow. So we're just about to be underway for round 12 Liberty A-League, and it is Unite round. It's been a massive weekend. Records have been broken. Michelle Heyman got 101 goals. First player to get ever 100 goals in the Liberty A-League. And this is the best way to round out the weekend. A David and Goliath battle, as we've said. Two teams in supreme form. And we're underway. Western Sydney Wanderers coming up against the leaders of the league, Melbourne City, to round out an epic weekend of football for Unite round. Early possession, under pressure, Melbourne City staying in control though. So it's City in the blue and the Wanderers in the grey outfits, attacking the goal now, and Lysiane Prue just dives on that one. The goalkeeper for City, the Canadian goalkeeper, was an integral member of Canada's youth international program and broke into the senior team in 2022, also a member of the World Cup squad. So Western Sydney coach Robbie Hooker, former Socceroo. The big news this week, it came out yesterday that Robbie has signed on for a 2-year contract as head coach of the Wonder Woman. His status was a little up in the air. He obviously joined the team in different circumstances than usual, just 10 days out from the start of the season when Kat Smith left. And there is Melbourne City's coach, Dario Vidicic, also a former Socceroo, has proven that he is a coach to watch. Took over from his father, Rado Vidicic, and has become known as a coach who really wants his team to hold possession. Melbourne City are a team that love to hold possession and squeeze out the opposition.
That they have. And we just look here, Melbourne City, despite having one of the lowest foul records in this competition, I feel they're going to be up against a very defensively and strong Western Sydney.
City gaining their first possession, really, of the match now. Wilkinson sends it out to Ekic. Ekic on the right wing. He'll go back around through Stott, showing some of her skills. Impressive already. And it's turned over. The Wanderers finding space in the midfield, and they'll turn around now. There's players out ahead. Malia Morris is moving in. Sophie Harding has a cross, goes herself, cross. It's defended and sent out by Stott, but there's a second bite. Matos follows up. Price, Harding, and it's dived on by goalkeeper Prue. So early warning signs from the goal scorer, goal machine Sophie Harding.
This driving run and this perfect ball out to Sophie Harding really shows that Western Sydney know with a 3-back line by Melbourne City, they're going to break into those wider areas to capitalise, and they're pressing high up in that final third quickly in about 5 seconds. So Melbourne City are going to have to retain the ball and make sure they're passing sticks.
Another chance now, Harding, and that's probably straight at the keeper. Prue, easy save for her, but under a bit of pressure early on. And the Western Sydney Wanderers just bringing a bit of the pressure that Melbourne City are not quite accustomed to.
I like that Western Sydney have already started playing a style that we don't quite see in the Liberty A-League quite often. They're pushing up on the goal kicks. They're standing off, and it's almost man v man marking. I love man v marking personally, and when you're playing against a team that wants that possession, it's an ideal way of doing it, because then you know it's one-on-one responsibility.
Bodywork here. Western Sydney come up with it. But the pressure continues from the Blues. The City, McKenna, young Matilda, Garlich now on the left wing. She's been the hottest thing to talk about in the competition. Hat-trick last week. This City side are not short of scorers. They've got 10 goals across the last 2 matches, and Garlich has really come into her own and announced herself to the Liberty A-League. So City putting pressure high on the defence of the Wanderers at the other end of the field. The captain, Harrison, dispatches it, but it's caught by Julia Grosso. Apostolakis. Really under a lot of pressure, this defence of the Wanderers, and they're going to come undone eventually. The captain, Harrison, wins that battle, gets a foul from Garlich.
Amy Harrison's played this exceptionally well. Just a little touch that, look, realistically, she could have stayed on her feet, but she's opted for the safest option for her team.
Long ball, and the keeper has to make a decision. She opts to loft it high. Air mails it out to the midfield. But the Wanderers are still in possession, and they'll go forward again. Holly Caspers. Can't find Malia Morrison. It'll be a throw-in. And Prue has been on watch all game so far. Had to really make a call there and come out well out of her box.
It was a great link up between her and Stott. Stott stepping in, making sure to hold her off.
So the Wanderers go back through their captain, Harrison. High pressure coming from City. That's gone out the back. Grosso heads it. It lands awkwardly, and there's players all going for it at the same time. Really difficult. Oh, that's unceremoniously dumped Julia Grosso on the ground there. And Malia Morris, or Harding, was involved as well. 2 of the strikers for Western Sydney Wanderers. It looks like Morris and then Harding had the contact. So City are away, and they'll look to hold possession as they are wont to do. They love holding possession and really suffocating their opponents out. Grosso can't get on the end of it, but it goes out for a throw-in. So speaking of possession, City, they love to play the small ball. They have made 5,907 passes this season, and compare that to Western Sydney Wanderers, who have made just 3,538. So we love stats here in the Liberty A-League, but they've almost doubled the number of passes their opponents, which just gives you an idea of how much they love to play possession and small ball passing. Sophie Harding on screen, wants it high and long. Kush LaRue, another speedster. Western Sydney Wanderers, they've been known for their frontline speed and their firepower. Rue, just uncharacteristic error.
Quite cagey by both teams to start, which is not unusual given the pressures on both teams. It means something for both of them today. With a win here, Western Sydney can go into that top fighting form and spots in this competition, while Melbourne City have the chance to go clear at the top of the table.
Dangerous
by about 8.
Ball here. Prue has to do away with it. They managed to get out of the jam, do City. But this high pressure is really putting them out of sorts. Malia Morris cutting off the back pass across to Stott. They have to use Prue. Stott now finds a way out through the right sideline, and the possession has been very even, which is unusual for Melbourne City, who usually have most of the possession. Western Sydney Wanderers are actually at 55%. So early in this match, the Wanderers getting on top of these league leaders. Stott, the captain on City side. They love to play out from the back, even when there's a really high press coming. Riley, what is the idea behind that?
Look, I call it the Vidicic factor. It's something that's always been focused on. You play out, this is how we play. And it's that belief as, you know, a Melbourne City belief that regardless of what pressure you're under, you're the calibre of player that can play out regardless. And look, in most instances, it works, but occasionally you come up against a team like Western Sydney where it can put a little bee in your bonnet and upset the momentum.
Bit of an attack here. Policina ball in. And that's the first save required from Kaylee Collins, the Western Sydney Wanderers goalkeeper. Policina throwing a cross ball, but not really finding any danger.
Looking at the replay, it was a little chip in, but no one was quite on the end of that, and it's well and comfortable in the goalkeeper zone.
Up the left side for the Wanderers, Malia Morris puts it out. Morris, the American striker who signed this season, she came out of the National Women's Soccer League at Orlando Pride. Grosso sends it back to Prue under a lot of pressure. They managed to get out of a jam. McKenna now, and they're on the burst. Policina has players out wide on the right side. Ekic, the player we highlighted earlier, the Bosnian international, ball in, cross, and it's straight to the gloves of Kaylee Collins. So Kush LaRue now the turn and burn. It's a foot race, and she beats Grosso to it, only to find Sophie Harding, the other speedster on the side. Harding cross and side nets it.
Beautiful end-to-end play there. And this little bit of pressure from Sophie Harding, this is where Melbourne City have to be really careful. And as a goalkeeper, you don't actually want to be backing away from the ball when you've got a speedster like Harding coming at you. You need to come forward, attack that, because otherwise you're leading yourself into a bit of trouble like she almost did just then with Sophie Harding.
So they'll have the first corner kick of the game, the Western Sydney Wanderers. Apostolakis to take it. And Prue has been under a barrage of pressure. Ball in, Prue gets a glove on it. There's a high bounce and Harrison catches it. And there's Casper's shot on, but not too dangerous. Probably didn't get the purchase on it that she would have liked, Casper's. So Prue catches that easily, and City find their way out once more. That'll be a throw-in for the City side, and Kush LaRue just trying to intercept Stott. Pressure coming. They opt to go back. Prue playing like a central sort of sweeper even required at points to come forward. Almost fouled. There's a lot of body work, and there it is. There's the foul. There's plenty of pressure coming on to Taylor Otto.
You can see the desperation by Western Sydney Wanderers, and this has come from Robbie Hooker going, you have, particularly in that third, in that opposition half, you need to be winning that ball back quickly so we can return and go forward as quickly as possible.
So here they go, City. Ekic goes back to Torpy. And Otto, the American defender, picked number 11 in the US draft out of college. Ekic, nicely weighted ball. Pressure on Bruce to make a decision. And that was a difficult one for Bruce, but it came off Policina. They're still cornered down in their half, though, the Wanderers, and Ekic comes up with it, holding possession, biding their time. Stott, Grosso puts on the burners, can't get past Morris, goes back. And playing the possession game again, Melbourne City. Policina cuts in, and that's cut off. Vicky Bruce, a defensive stalwart for the Wonder Woman. Policina's not too happy with that. So a bit of an arm wrestle so far, 15 minutes into this game. The final game of Unite round. Passing accuracy has been very high on both sides. Melbourne City, unsurprising, 90% passing accuracy. They are the best passing team in the league. And here's one of those beautiful passes. Wilkinson was too good to be true. She was just caught offside. But the passing accuracy is a really interesting stat. Looking at the league stats for the whole season, the top 7 leading passes in the opposition half are all Melbourne City players. It's quite unbelievable. Stott, Hughes, Garlich, Policina, Torpy, Grosso and Otto, they are the top 7 leading passes.
And just slightly offside there on that run.
It was very close. Wilkinson almost found herself in a paddock and one-on-one with the keeper.
Has been a bit of a quiet season for Wilkinson. Her last 2 games has seen her score, so hopefully that gives her a little bit of confidence in herself and those that are around her to start feeding her the ball.
Torpy usually plays a little higher up the pitch, but Ekic coming in. She's gone to the right back position and looking for Ekic on that right wing. It's a nice little 1-2. Torpy knows this space well. Was she fouled? There's an appeal. But the referee says no.
Melbourne City starting to come into their fine form of what they do best. Little 1-2s, those wall passes with little fakes and then driving towards the byline. This is where Western Sydney, who have been quite conscious of this, Robbie Hooker's done his due diligence and has recognised this. Not only that, but also the fact that City like to pass through the line, so that first and second line to really get through to that final third.
Sophie Harding appeals for a foul, doesn't get it. And Garlich, the 17-year-old, the talk of the competition, finds the ball at her feet. Working alongside Grosso, the American. Grosso battling with Apostolakis, the defence of the Wonder Woman holds firm. But that's a little too firm. Matos can't get on the end of it. So Grosso has the throw in. Garlich, Grosso. Matos dueling. And it comes off the City women. So Matos has the throw in. There's a bit more space now, and that almost got through to Sophie Harding, who was ready to turn on the jets. Didn't quite get the chance. Stott in the middle to defy that one. And the sun's come out now in Western Sydney. It's been an interesting day, really warm all weekend. And the rain came earlier. We thought it was going to be a thunderstorm, but the sun's come out, and it's a beautiful way to finish out Unite round with 2 really strong looking teams. Very evenly matched so far. Caitlin Torpy, who's having quite a good season, and Holly Casper's another one to watch. What have you liked about her game, Riley?
Look, both have been very competitive, and I like the fact that Casper's, when she gets on the ball, she's looking at playing into the channels. So that's where Melbourne City, particularly in that final third, are quite at the edge of, that's where they're going to be the most prominent place that they can attack. So essentially that we want to play into those areas, drive the ball, get the cross in. So I like the Caspers. That's the first thing she likes to do when she gets the ball.
Garlich couldn't get on the end of that. Oh, great ball forward again. Lysiane Prue has to come high out of the goal box. Does so.
Just a little too direct by Western Sydney. We can see what they're trying to do, getting Sophie Harding on the ball. What they need to do, if they're playing those through balls, they need to play into the wider channels for her to run onto, and then having our opposing striker along the lines of Morris or, you know, a Casper's coming through to get that ball. Or you want to play into Sophie's feet so she can hold it up.
Chance now, Morris on the right wing. Waits for her teammates to help out. Can't quite find anyone, and now there's a counter-attack via the feet of Garlich, who has such impressive skills. Oh, I think that's a little push, and the referee tends to agree.
Look, a professional foul there doesn't hurt anyone. Price has taken one for the team there to slow down the play. You could see that the likes of the Western Sydney Wanderers defenders were on the back foot. They were having to tread backwards. So she's done what's best for the team at this point in time.
Stott goes back to Prue. Pressure coming. Sophie Harding, Taylor Otto and Stott managed to work it out. Now Torpy lofts it forward, and Garlich is there. I don't think she's offside. Very tight. Garlich works it in. Shot on. Oh, it's at the keeper. There's an opportunity for Garlich to follow up, and it's headed out. Wilkinson nearly followed up. And gee, that was close. McKenna almost had it. Ekic strikes it.
Tell you what, Garlich is driven inside. Very standard play for her. This beautiful drive inside by McKenna. Great block by Collins. And this moment, we almost saw an own goal. That would not be the way the Western Sydney want to start this game after putting in so much effort. But we love the excitement these two are doing, and Western Sydney are putting everything on the line.
Body save first, head save by the captain, Harrison second. And the Wonder Woman out of a jam. They do not want City to score first and get the upper hand. City tend to win the games that they score first. In fact, they've won 88% of matches where they have scored first. So really, the odds are in their favour. Here comes Kush LaRue. The Wanderers return serve. What can they conjure up now? Sophie Harding's in the box, looks for the cross. And Prue is there once more.
It's just that final pass by Western Sydney at the moment. They're just putting it too close to the Melbourne City keeper. It's not enough. It's in the danger space for her just to take on easily. Let's bring it back slightly between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box, because it's very rare for your goalkeeper to come out at that point.
So Otto and Stott once more building up play from the back. Polisina sends it out to Ekic. The Bosnian international wins that little duel. It'll be a throw-in for City. So Torpy, Polisina. They go back around. Polisina, oh, just caught napping, and the defence jumped on it. Wanderers back in possession. They'll go back to their keeper. Difficult one to collect there for Kush LaRue. A little too much heat on it, but she'll come up with the throw-in. Polisina. Now Hughes will try the left side. City. Julia Grosso. That's a tricky one to collect. Sophie Harding jumps on the opportunity. Puts on the burners. She's got jets. And now Morris has space. Matos. Matos shots on. Was it a shot or a cross? Never mind. Prue has the gloves on it. They have a second chance. They're still in possession now. McComiskey. Try the left side. Kushlaroo. And Caspers has to chase it down, but not fast enough.
Another opportunity gone begging. Matos did the right thing taking the ball there over Morris, but just put it in that space again where it's so easy for Prue to just get on board. But Western Sydney are coming hard again.
Rue, cross in. Hoofed away. City under pressure. Torpy gets it out. And McKenna. And now Garlich has another chance to send the ball up her team's end. Garlich coming well back in defence under this relentless pressure from the Western Sydney Wanderers. Long ball, Harding, not close enough.
Western Sydney are doing what we don't see too often, and they're hunting in packs. So when they hunt in those 2s and 3s and 1 players, it makes retaining the ball back very quickly ideal. This way they can turn, they can face forward and try and play those balls through to the likes of Sophie Harding. But it's very predictable at the moment. That's what their focus is. So hopefully they settle into their routine. Yes, we're only about 26 minutes in. But let's see what a little bit more they can do. Let's move the ball to the likes of Morris, out wide to Matos again. Let's start whipping some balls in and getting them in those more ideal spaces to get a shot on target.
Here they go again. Western Sydney Wanderers. Sophie Harding meets the feet of Otto. Otto, the veteran defender. They have such an impressive back line. The City side do, and the possession here has shifted. So 62% in the way of Melbourne City, 38% for the Western Sydney Wanderers.
No surprise there, Kate. Melbourne City are well known, as we've said before, for their possession-based football. A lot of that possession is maintained through their back line. So we start at one side, we switch through the back line to the other, we make our way up, play through the middle.
Polisina, lovely ball forward to Wilkinson, one-on-one, there's defenders, she needs some support and she gets it from Ekic. Ekic, long strike, off the woodwork. Garlich nearly followed up, but just couldn't get there fast enough.
Oh, what a moment for Melbourne City. I pretty much could almost have my money on Ekic scoring there. Her left foot is one of the best in this competition when it comes to striking. She's hit the post, it's rebound out, but great work by Wilkinson to make that run and get into the ideal position.
It was an amazing assist through to Wilkinson, and then the shot from Ekic was almost perfect, and you could tell that she'd weighted it really well. There's a chance at the other end though, Wanderers. And they just see that one out through Caitlin Torpy.
So having a look at this, outfoot pass by Polisina, great run by Wilkinson. You've got Collins. I'm not quite sure why she's come out that far with the defenders that she had present there. But this shot by Ekic, it's almost too good. That's the problem. So, you know, this is just coming and coming for Melbourne City. And I don't think it's going to be long before we see a goal by them if they don't get one on target sooner.
Yeah, Mina Ekic, a hat-trick a couple of weeks ago against Brisbane. She's really found new form here in the Liberty A-League. Polisina also finding a lot of form. Only 1 goal on the season so far, Polisina. Oh, sorry, 4 goals this season for Polisina. Torpy has 1. Ekic again on the ball. Torpy. Ekic really squeezing possession out of the Western Sydney Wanderers. So happy to maintain and keep their opponents stressing. Sophie Harding wins a little battle. Oh, player down. Sophie Harding comes up with it, crosses it, sends it forward. Morris had an opportunity and couldn't get the bounce.
What an opportunity for Western Sydney to really take it to Melbourne City just then. The balls just didn't come off. Whether it's a bit of excitement when you see moments like that as a player, you think, here's the time for us to shine, and you get almost too ahead of yourself before it actually comes to fruition.
Her eyes lit up, Malia Morris, and the bounce did not quite sit for her, but she had a paddock of space, and Lysiane Prue coming out so high seems dangerous, and this is dangerous as well. Amina Ekic on the burst, bouncing ball, big run. Saved, hoofed away, Amina Ekic. Garlich, can she get on the end of it? Still in possession, Melbourne City. They go back. Grosso, footwork. Back to Ekic. Ekic crosses, Wilkinson's there. There's a header to save it. Garlich heads. And Kaylee Collins, goalkeeper, just collects that one and has some breathing room. There's a player down though, and I'm not sure what the contact was that created it. Possibly the header there, the saving header. And you can get those on the head, can't you, Riley? It really can compress the skull and the spine and sometimes cause damage.
Yeah, look, we call them a bit of a stinger, and with how concussion is such a big focus in the games now. But we look at this, beautiful cut inside by Ekic here. She's driven across, tried to slot in. Great defending there by Amy Harrison. A second go and just couldn't get the bite of the cherry right. But Ekic is everywhere, and this is what we've been saying about her. Her mobility across the field and being allowed, which is not quite normally the case with Melbourne City structure. The fact they allow her to roam anywhere in that final third, she drops into the midfield to receive as well at times and help out. That is what makes her so dangerous. It makes her difficult to mark. You almost need a man marking approach with her and someone who just follows her everywhere. But then you start leaving gaps. She's very much been, you know, outstanding for Melbourne City as it is, but it's great to see, you know, it looks like this has just needed a moment for Western Sydney to get themselves together, make sure there's no issues around concussion, and let's get ourselves going.
Well, it's Vicky Bruce who was down, the American defender for Western Sydney. She's played in the US and Europe, including most recently for Bristol City. She was a Tar Heel at the University of North Carolina, so you hate to see her injured in any way, but she looks to be jogging it off and hopefully goes back on very soon.
And I've really enjoyed the battle between the likes of her and Ekic out on that wing. Bruce has kept it quite tight on her on most occasions. She's actually done her homework. She knows when Ekic is going to drop the shoulder and cut inside, or when she's going to open up and take the line. So I would have hated to see her have to go off and potentially make this game a little bit more open on that right-hand side.
Back in play, boot off Kaylee Collins, the goalkeeper. And Hannah Wilkinson so excited to get on the ball and get on the scoreboard, possibly. Garlich working alongside Torpy. Garlich, they can't find their way around the defence, and caught offside was, I think, Wilkinson. So just a little too high up the pitch. She's goal hungry, Wilkinson. She's got 5 goals this season, and usually that's enough for one player. But this team, Melbourne City, 28 goals on the season, and 5 pales in comparison to some of the scoring that has happened in recent weeks. A hat-trick for Garlich, a hat-trick for Ekic previously.
And Wilkinson having 2 in the last 2 games as well. And I hope it brings a lot more confidence for her. She's been a player, you know, when she first came to Melbourne City, she really showed what she's made of.
Kushlaroo, chance now. Western Sydney, Morris building up play in their half, their attacking quarter.
And if we look here, just in the play, Price has come forward.
I think there was an appeal for a handball, but somewhere in there. I couldn't quite catch it on the replay.
Let's see what Western Sydney can make of this corner.
Ball in. Gets in the way, does Grosso. And Ekic finds a left boot to send it out. Comes back in, Harding, the person you'd want on the ball. High ball forward, and that won't do it. Olivia Price just has a ping.
Bit ambitious there, shooting there with the ball pitching upwards. Not the ideal decision to be made. However, when you're under a bit of pressure, a lot of players just assume that may as well give it a go, and it's not something that's going to change in the future for any of us that are still playing the game.
High pressure, Morris and Harding working in a team, in tandem. City managed to get out. They invite the pressure and they exploit the gaps opening up behind. Ekic, Policina. Wanderers coming back in numbers. Harrison, the captain, gets on the ball, and Kushlaroo managed to find a way back out. Olivia Price. Now Grosso. Hughes. And then Torpy. They'll go the other way. Garlich on the right. Ball in. Wilkinson. Saved by Kaylee Collins.
What a save it was.
Gloved out off the back line at the right time. Garlich's cross was pinpoint accurate. Wilkinson just had to go on the end of it and didn't quite get the purchase that she would have liked, but an excellent save by Kaylee Collins. Melbourne City now have a chance to line up for a corner. And the momentum is building for this visiting side. Who else to take it? Amina Ekic. Ekic. High ball. Torpy. Side net.
Not a bad ball there by Ekic at all. Into the back stick, hoping that, like we've seen a lot of players and teams these days, there's no one actually on front and back stick.
Unceremoniously dumped was Kushlaroo, finding pace, and McKenna could not keep the pace. They'll say it's accidental, and it is, because Roo always tends to beat her opponents in foot races. But she went flying and Supermaned across this wet pitch here in Western Sydney, Combank Stadium. Always such a lovely field to play on, but it was dumped in rain just before we kicked off. So there's a little bit of slipperiness around and might make it for a bit of drama when you go flying, just like this.
At least it's a soft landing there. You're going to skid a little bit, less skin's going to come off. But Western Sydney still trying to make their way through this Melbourne City line. Very compressed through the midfield, three sitting along the back most of the time, with one, the opposing wing-back, tucking in on the far side. So there's a lot of opportunities to take advantage here. It's just when they get the ball forward, they need to make the right ones. And I'm sure that Robbie is going to be having these conversations with the girls. There's been so many positives for them, but there's going to be that focus on that final decision-making, that final pass.
Holly Caspers hasn't had much to do this game, but comes on the ball now, and there's players left and right. Well, that's a perfect save. Torpy. Apostolakis has a ping, and it's well left of the goal.
What an opportunity for Western Sydney there. Just again, it's that final decision-making. Like, in this time, yes, it was the right decision to make, but the pass wasn't hard enough. So it's just one of those unfortunate situations. But once again, this playing out from the back. This is where I believe that Western Sydney can really capitalise on Melbourne City.
So total shots 7 for Melbourne City and only 3 for Western Sydney Wanderers. Melbourne City with the lion's share of chances, not able to capitalise just yet. And you'd think that frustration starts to build for a side that is top of the ladder and probably expecting to score early in this one. They need to maintain focus and discipline. Wilkinson jumps to receive it, can't quite get on the end of it. Ekic dueling, that's probably a little clumsy from the Bosnian international. Just clipped an ankle.
We look at this, just a good little touch out of the feet and a little shove in the back. But Western Sydney away once again into these ideal areas.
Malia Morris looking for Harding. Lovely footwork. Morris saved by Prue.
What a reaction save, and just what Melbourne City needed. And we see this so often. It's against the run of play. Beautiful little drop, driving on the inside past Torpy, and just a slight deflection. Brilliant save.
Off the fingertips of the Canadian goalkeeper, Prue has earned her money's worth today already, and it's only 40 minutes in. So Western Sydney now have a corner. Here it comes. High ball. Plenty of players up, but no one on the end of it. So Prue and Stott now collaborating to play out from the back. Torpy. Back through the centre with Hughes. Now to the left. Grosso. They use the left wing. Straight up the line. Amina Ekic wants to go for a run. Doesn't see space, so she'll send it back to Grosso. Polisina. Polisina cuts inside. Polisina looking for a chance to shoot. Doesn't find it. Harrison, the captain of the Wanderers, instead comes up with it, looking for Harding. Harding with a foot race. Oh, there's a jumper pull there. Harding gets away, has a shot, and I would have thought that there was a foul earlier in that little run and didn't get caught by the referee. Ekic now has a chance, battling with Grosso. And Riley Dobson, I'd love your thoughts on this little situation.
This frustrates me to no end, particularly as an attacker, but the holding of the shirt of Sophie Harding, we should be coming back despite the advantage being played. So we have the advantage, we have the shot, but a card should be given. Any shirt pull is deemed as a yellow card. Regardless of how small it is a yellow card offence.
Is it just yellow, or would you almost argue for a red in that scenario?
So essentially what happens is, because there are still players in the vicinity and it's not a clear scoring opportunity, it goes down as a yellow. So it wouldn't be a red unless she breaks away into the box and there's no one else around.
Great explanation by the former Melbourne City player herself, Riley Dobson, former Matilda. So great to have analysis from her in the box today alongside me.
Good turning here by Grosso. Her sharpness on the ball is something that's really stood out over last season and this season. She has a very tight turn, almost turning on a dime, and what makes her great in these tiny little areas.
So they'll recycle Melbourne City. Under a bit of pressure once more. Stott so calm under pressure. And using their goalkeeper, Prue, almost like a centre-back. She gets that many touches. Sophie Harding for the Wanderers. Fancy footwork. Polisina, though, intercepts that. And Ekic with a lovely drag around the defence. Wilkinson's in support. Wilkinson looks for Ekic. Has a long ball across to Garlich. Garlich, does it sit? Garlich working one-on-one against her opposing player. They go back around. Grosso. Melbourne City still in possession, building up play now in their half. Just a few minutes to go in the first half of this match. It's been a real arm wrestle. Hughes, Torpy. Garlich, the 17-year-old, the hat-trick superstar from last week, sends it in, only meets the feet of Wonder Woman.
Garlich is definitely up against tougher and different opposition this week, and you've looked at the likes of Matos. She has followed Garlich around the pitch, so it's been a great one-on-one battle with them. Robbie's done his due diligence, and he can tell with Garlich showing her on the outside because she doesn't have a lot of pace, so she's able to use the line to shut Garlich down as well as any other one coming through as well.
Here she is again, Garlich. Goes in, Polisina, Torpy. Beautiful little triangle passing from the Melbourne City women. Under no pressure, it would seem, at all. They just so calm on the ball. So cool, collected. Polisina takes a run, cutting inside. Finds McKenna. They go back around once more. Grosso on the left. Grosso in the pink boots. Ekic. Ekic tries the footwork. Crosses. Wilkinson was there almost. And Garlich just not quite on the end of the way that fell. But they'll stay in possession. Policina, turn and burn on the right. Policina. Shots on. Straight to the keeper. Kaylee Collins happy to dive on that and just give her team a little bit of breathing room. This is end-to-end stuff. Both teams having plenty of opportunities in their goal square. And a long boot will give the Western Sydney Wanderers a bit of time to breathe. So 1 minute of additional time will be added at the end of this half. Oh, a little slip there. Malia Morris, it seems like the wet pitch just was the undoing of her in that situation. So 1 minute added on the end of this half of stoppage time. It's been pretty continuous play and a real barrage of shots at both ends on both goalkeepers. No score yet, though.
Definitely got a tug of war on our hands. We've got an excellent defensive team in the likes of Western City who've done their homework on Melbourne City. You've got Melbourne City who love to be attacking as well, but they also know how to retain the possession to ensure that they're having as many opportunities as possible. Yes, they have the highest, shots on goals and goals in this season.
Caspers boots it forward. Prue has to make work of it. It's hit Harding in the face on the way out, but I think she's caught offside. Almost beautiful, but not quite. City, maybe one more chance. Wilkinson goes out to Garlich. The hat-trick hero, lovely little feed. Policina can't get on the end of it. Amy Harrison, the captain, with a captain's run out of the back line. The Western Sydney fans loving it.
Yeah, so you can see there, Sophie Harding, great run off the shoulder, but just too early. When you're that pacey, it's best for you to check first and then go. That way it ensures that you remain onside, and we could have been in for Western Sydney up 1-0 then.
It's a situation no goalkeeper wants to be in. Sophie Harding, one-on-one, with no defence alongside you. So there's the half-time whistle. An arm wrestle here at Combank Stadium in Western Sydney. Both teams with a plethora of chances and both defences holding firm in the face of a barrage of shots. Hannah Wilkinson having plenty of chances. And at half-time, it's Western Sydney Wanderers 0 to the Melbourne City 0.
Looking at highlights from this half, we've got this beautiful drive in by McKenna. It's come across to Collins with an absolute shot stopper and a clear perfectly off the line by Bruce. And then we've had this outside of the foot pass by Policina. Wilkinson working her magic to stay upright. And then Ekic, almost too perfect, hitting the bar.
Ekic coming back into the starting lineup. We thought she'd spark something. Malia Morris nearly sparked something with this incredible shot, and Prue, the Canadian goalkeeper for the Western Sydney for Melbourne City, has had to be called into action a number of times. Fingertip save there and kept it at 0-0 for her side. Plenty of shots, and you'll see from the stats, 6 shots for the Wanderers and 8 for Melbourne City, but that doesn't really tell you how much each side has been attacking around the box, and the defence on both sides has held firm. Plenty of passes. Interesting one there, 277 passes for Melbourne City, and passing accuracy 88%. So the visitors still playing their brand of football, holding possession, suffocating the defence. And let's see what they will make of it in the second half. It's 0-0 here at Combank Stadium. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Western Sydney. Combank Stadium is the scene of the final match to round out Unite Round, an epic weekend of football. It's 0-0 Western Sydney Wanderers, Melbourne City, in what has been a stalemate of a game so far. Kate Ullman here with Riley Dobson. Take us through some of the highlights, Riley.
This beautiful ball by Wilkinson, out to Ekic, who's managed to just put it too perfect, and it's smashed into that crossbar. But look at this run. She's managed to hold it up around 3 players, hold off the keeper. Ekic running on, as we know that she does. And that ball in.
If you're just joining us, Amina Ekic on screen there, coming back into the starting lineup after a week of a little niggles, and there's been plenty of shots for both sides. Malia Morris there for Western Sydney Wanderers almost had a ping and found net, but Lucianne Prue in goals for Melbourne City has been a star so far. She's thwarted a barrage of shots, and we've just got a comparison here of stats. Taylor Otto against Vicky Bruce, because it's been such a defensive game, and these two defenders really evenly matched so far, Raleigh.
Love the defensive battle in this game. It's often that we talk about the attackers so much and we forget about the role that defenders play within the game. So for Otto and Bruce, they've had an outstanding half for both their respective sides.
It's 0-0 in Combank Stadium for round 12, Unite Round, the final match of Unite Round. Melbourne City trying to go one up, and they do so here. McKenna caught offside. And Kaylee Collins in goals. It's Kate Ullman on the microphone alongside WE Championship player and former Matilda. And we should declare a former player for Melbourne City, Riley Dobson, alongside me. So Collins boots it long. Stott heads it away for Melbourne City. And Garlich, one of the players who's the talk of the competition right now, 17-year-old, hat-trick last week, goal-scoring machine, and really announced herself to the competition. In fact, announced herself so much so that I checked on the pronunciation of Garlich, and it is indeed Daniela Garlich, Croatian heritage. And we love watching her, and we cannot wait to see what she does. 18 in June. Certainly one to watch in the Australian squads. And high pressure now coming from Western Sydney. Lucianne Prue very high out of her goal net. But it's no problem for Melbourne City. Ekic on the run, cutting inside. Wilkinson, lovely ball out on the left, looks for players. Ekic boots it. Almost a bicycle kick goal. That was something to see. A special move from a special player, but it looks like she's hurt. And this is what we hate to see.
We look at this ball. Wilkinson holding it up. A nice little chip over the top. And then Ekic just trying to turn it on that dime for a half bicycle kick there. Not too bad.
That is one of the most impressive moves I've seen in the Women's Liberty A-League. The bicycle kick shot, it was pretty pinpoint perfect. Went wide, but it was the right move at the right time. Unlucky for Amina Ekic, the Bosnian international. And I tell you what, if she'd found the net there, I think this would be replayed on social media time and again. I think it will anyway. The upward bicycle kick, landing on her back, sending the goalkeeper diving. That's something special.
It was ambitious and special if it had actually come off. The question is, would she have been better off staying on her 2 feet, opening up and just placing that ball with her left foot, as we know that she can do so well, and Melbourne City would be up 1-0.
Well, a crowd pleaser for the crowd out here at Combank Stadium. There's the coach, Dario Vidicic. I think he'd be excited to see some of the young talent in the team. Or intercepted by Sophie Harding. A long boot, that's gone straight to the keeper though. Matos had a ping, and it was probably a little ambitious. So Lucianne Prue, who's had almost more touches than anyone in the game. Wilkinson sends it forward. Garlich, the goalkeeper's out high. Gets a foot on it first as Collins And nearly found space, Garlich, to shoot. Both goalkeepers coming out really high in this game.
Gives the opportunity for a lot of strikers, if they're picking up on this, and coaches as well, you can go for those longer range chip shots, just placing it over, particularly when you've got goalkeepers that are playing and focusing on playing that sweeper role and playing high up near the top of their box.
Speaking of high, Stott coming high out of the back. Building up the play now on the left side. Julie Grosso, the American, takes a run. Polisina back to Grosso. Ekic, who's had so many touches and been involved in so many attacking plays. Really exciting player, Ekic. And Otto and Grosso, the two Americans, get a little caught up there. Torpy. Harding wants it more. Harding finds a way through, but Stott shuts it down. Now Torpy boots it out. And that's kept in. Western Sydney Wanderers maintain possession. Harrison to Bruce. Bruce, well worked through. Polisina doesn't like it. Tries to reach forward, but Holly Casper's now in possession. Can she find Morris? Couldn't. And that might just go over the back line. No, Grosso manages to keep it in. Well done by Grosso. Finds Ekic. Ekic with speed to burn up against Kush LaRue. The 100-metre race between two speedsters.
We look at this replay here. This is what we've been saying is a point of unease with Melbourne City, is getting caught 1v1 in that three-back line, and that's what Sophie Harding has the ability to do. She's got the pace to press, win that ball and break through.
Polisina now on the burst. Garlich is in a paddock of space on the right. Oh, that's gone straight to the defence. And you hate to put it in the feet of Vicky Bruce, because she's going to gobble it up all day and send it straight back to Sophie Harding, who has 8 goals on the season. Can she make it 9? Not yet. Rue looking for a cross, heads up, goes one-on-one. Vicky Bruce helping out. Kush LaRue, high ball crossing, and Prue jumps on it.
Just once again, it's those crosses and that final pass that are what the downfall are for Western Sydney. It's in Prue's goal area. It makes it so easy for her to come forward to. There's no need for her to be worried. Once again, another one-on-one ball coming out from that back line.
Price wanted it more there, and Torpy got pushed off. But Stott has to use footwork, getting through, busy. Plenty of traffic in the way. Harding doesn't like that decision. Gets a little talking to by referee Izzy Blais.
We look at this beautiful little slip pass by Rebecca Stott, and it's just that elbow and that shoulder of the right arm from Sophie Harding coming in through the back of the shoulder. That's what got them the foul.
Harrison working on McKenna. McKenna has the last touch. And the captain, Amy Harrison, wins that little battle. 13 caps for the Matildas, Amy Harrison, a Western Sydney local from Camden, and helped the Red and Black to their first final series back in 2020. Such a veteran defender. Ekic with Grosso. Grosso can't get on the end of it. Ekic finds Grosso again, falling down, keeps possession. And they go back around through Otto. Melbourne City playing the possession game once more. Stott and Torpy. Volleying ball, and Ekic finds a paddock of space. Ekic on the left, has Wilkinson too far. Polisina! And that's air-mailed into the stand. distance, but their best looking strike so far. Policina going high, and Kaylee Collins has to glove it out.
Look at this ball. So they've been under pressure. It's hard to say whether that was done on purpose or not, but Ekic doing what she does best, driving to the inside of the box, and she always tends to do this dummy towards the inside so she can either shoot or not. Beautiful ball in by Policina, and what a save by Collins.
Policina with the corner kick. Headed away. Not out of danger yet, though. Sophie Harding against Garlich. Garlich. And it's jived on by Kaylee Collins in goals. So the Western Sydney Wanderers absorb a barrage of shots once more and find their way out against Melbourne City, the league leaders, on top of the table by 5 points are Melbourne City. Malia Morris for the Western Sydney Wanderers on the right. Goes herself, and that won't do it. Goes straight to Otto. Bit of tic-tac-toe at the top of the box. And Kush LaRue will get the throw in for the Wanderers.
End-to-end stuff here, but look at this, just driving on the inside. Does get well blocked there. Look, some people might say that's a foul or not. For me, that's play on.
Morris, a real decision maker, and always leaves it to the opposition, to the defensive players, to make their decision to go in and commit to the tackle before she makes her move. Really fascinating to watch. So the possession is really in favour of Melbourne City. No surprises there. This is the team that loves to play the small ball. Dario Vidicic, the coach, telling his team to hold possession, suffocate the opponent, and then exploit gaps in between. They invite the pressure, do Melbourne City. Speaking of pressure, Holly Caspers putting on the pressure on Hughes. Both players believe it's their ball, but it will go the way of Lysiane Prue for a goal kick. And they're in no rush, Melbourne City. So Stott and Prue playing in the back. High pressure coming. Prue has to hoof it out. Ekic. Otto. Too hard for Grosso.
It makes you wonder whether Melbourne City are going to even consider trying to do something than playing out from the back under that pressure. They're losing the ball almost every single time.
Kush LaRue tries to get on the end of that one. And it will be her ball. Ekic losing out that battle. Grosso throw in. And Grosso head back. Trying to find Wilkinson. Western Sydney Wanderers win back possession. Bruce. Long ball on the left. Harding hasn't been able to find space to shoot just yet. It's been a few chances, but nothing really too dangerous. Matos and Harding now collaborate on the left. There's a ball in. Caspers wasn't quite fast enough. So Bruce, they go back out to Harding, and that's too hard for her to get on the end of. And it looks like there'll be a substitution. Henry coming on
For McKenna.
and McKenna to go off. So some fresh legs. Can this spark a difference, a change in the stalemate? Will Melbourne City be able to break open this game? Who will be first to strike? Or who will be first to capitulate in this defensive arm wrestle? Aerial ping pong. Price gets it out to Harding. Harding, the record goal scorer, club's record for goals. And that won't go in. That's a little wide. Ping from Apostolakis. So another substitution. The Western Sydney Wanderers take a leaf out of the same book, and Morris will go off. They'll look for fresh legs in that front line.
Very surprising substitution here, considering the work rate, the positioning and the attacking prowess that Morris has offered Western Sydney Wanderers throughout this game. It's not something that I would have anticipated by Robbie Hooker anytime soon, in all honesty.
So Caceres comes on and Morris comes off. Stott for Melbourne City throws it out to Torpy. And Bruce now Matos. Stott heads it over. Harding doesn't want Harding to get possession. Garlich battling with Price. Stott, little drag to the left. Ekic, lovely footwork. Beats two, but goes back again. Torpy. And this is the script they've been following all game. Back to the keeper. And then around the back. Transfer through Grosso. Building up momentum now. Polisina. Space on the left. Henry. Polisina. That's gone out. So the fresh legs of Henry. And who else but Ekic? Look at this replay. Just turning the opposition. Putting them in a blender. The arm wrestle continues. Melbourne City on the run. Grosso. Grosso. Cross. Does it sit? It doesn't. Ekic almost had a chance there, but it wasn't quite in the right position. And now it's a foot race between Stott and Harding. Harding just itching to get out in a space, and she does so here. She's got Caspers running in support, but goes herself straight into the defence of Laura Hughes. Garlich finds Ekic. Oh, Ekic has gone down.
Little shin to shin. You can hear the little clatter there, but I'm sure she's fine. We look here, little drag down the line, going to cut inside, and just a nice tackle there.
So what can they make of this chance now? City up in their attacking third once more. Nothing on there for Henry, but she goes for a roll anyway. Push LaRue rolling her eyes at that.
This driving around by Henry is well done, but the likes of Rue have defended so well, coming in, clearing the ball cleanly. But let's see what Melbourne City can make of this once again. It's likely going to be right on top of Collins.
So Briley Henry came on at half-time. The kick in now from Polisina. It's a good cross. Nearly finds Otto, doesn't sit. So it looks like this will be a well-earned penalty. An unfortunate mishap for the Western Sydney Wanderers defence. And what a timely chance to take a penalty out. That looks like handball to me, Riley.
Yes, very unfortunate there. Arm away from the body, upright. Yes, it's come off, obviously, an attacker for Melbourne City, but stock standard handball here. It's well taken, well picked up by Izzy Blaise, and with Polisina taking the penalty, I'm sure that she's known for her conversion rate here.
So what a chance. Melbourne City to break the deadlock. And Rihanna Polisina, a chance to go one up. Kaylee Collins in goals for Western Sydney Wanderers. This is a turning point for the match. Rihanna Polisina. And it's wide. Kaylee Collins dived, but she had that covered. An uncharacteristic mistake by Rihanna Polisina. You'd think she is so clutch in that situation. And Kaylee Collins has a smile because she just got out of a jam.
Commentators cursed there by me, saying that she's right on the money here, Polisina, and well known for her conversion rate. But what a huge moment. This could really lift Western Sydney.
Polisina with 4 goals this season. Couldn't find a 5th right there, and that was such an opportunity missed. The Western Sydney Wanderers breathe a sigh of relief. City follow up now. Henry driving that left side. Wilkinson's in the box. Polisina's there too. Western Sydney Wanderers just have to boot it out.
Looking at this, it's curled in nicely. And then just a ricochet off into Matos' hand. And then there's this penalty just gone wide. And you've got Kaylee Collins who's she's had that covered. What a defining moment that this could potentially be in this stalwart stalemate.
An uncharacteristic mistake by a stalwart of the Melbourne City side and a stalwart defender. We are on the edge of our seats because this has been a tighter match than anyone expected. League leaders Melbourne City have a chance again. Grosso working on the defence. Here's the replay of that penalty, and it was wide but also well covered by Kaylee Collins, and she must take a bow because she dived the right way and covered a lot of ground and airspace in that dive. I think she almost would have had fingertips on it. Either way.
Really good top hand there. I would have liked to have seen, if it was on target, how well she held that wrist strength and that hand strength to palm it outside of the goal.
Pressure on Stott from Sophie Harding. Torpy in support. Go back to Prue in goals. Well out of goals right now. That's straight to Holly Caspers, who dinks it over and finds the net. Holly Caspers, 1 up to the Western Sydney Wanderers. That's her first goal of the season. She's had a number of assists. She's the leading assist for her team, and they get around her because they know how much this means. The underdogs go 1 up in Western Sydney.
Did I not mention before that a goal can come from these goalkeepers playing too high up? Mistake from Prue, which we do not see often. She's off a line, and Casper sees the opportunity, chips it cleanly and nicely into the back of the net. But look at this. It's almost that complacency from Melbourne City, from playing out from the back. They do it consistently all the time. But what a finish by Caspers. 1-0, game on.
Wow, Holly Caspers with precision accuracy and the mindset and composure to do so against the Canadian goalkeeper. Now end-to-end, a chance for Briley Henry. Henry dinks it straight to the keeper. And Holly Caspers getting her first goal of the season. She led the team in assists. Oh, lovely. Ekic has a chance now. The other end, Ekic. It's gone wide. A beautiful slide tackle to gain possession, and then a left boot that just sailed past the net.
It was, once again, playing out from the back instead of clearing. Both could have got these teams in trouble, and Ekic almost pulled off the same as what Caspers just did, and we could have been looking at a draw. But an interesting statistic that we have for these two teams: Melbourne City is known to concede the most in the 61st to the 75th minute. However, it's the opposite for Western Sydney. They're known to score most of their goals in the 61st and 75th minute.
So another stat here for you, Riley. Melbourne City have had 6 shots on target. Western Sydney with only 5, and yet they have the chocolates to prove it. 1-0 up to the home side, and that bodes well because we know how strong Melbourne City are at defending a lead. They now are chasing the game away here in Combank Stadium to round out Unite round. An upset is brewing. Briley Henry wants to get her team back in the match. Grosso. And now Henry. Henry rolls forward. Garlich. Garlich. They go back around. Dinks it in. Try to find Policina. Torpy gets on the end of it. And Amina Ekic steps over. Amina with a player in the way. Policina, 1-2's on. Shots in. Wilkinson couldn't get the header. Briley Henry. The goalkeeper's out. Garlich still. And Henry, 1-on-1. Doesn't get around the defence of Western Sydney, who have been outstanding against the league leading scorers.
Just skimmed the hand of Wilkinson there. We could have been looking at a 3rd consecutive game and goal for her.
Garlich, another chance. 2 players on her. Defence has to stand strong and does so. The captain, Amy Harrison, boots it out. And they'll have a bit of breathing space now. The Western Sydney Wanderers, Lysiane Prue, who was caught so high out of the goal earlier, doesn't seem to have learned the lesson, wants to come really high again. And Melbourne City playing out the back through their captain, Rebecca Stott. Pressure coming from Sophie Harding. Sorry, that was Holly Caspers, the pressure. Both players putting high pressure on this defence from Melbourne City. Rebecca Stott slows it down. Otto, Policina, and Torpy on the right. So here's the passing accuracy. Melbourne City really high, 85%. But let's remember it was an inaccurate pass that cost them the goal. So even one miscue can be the downfall of a team. So far, it's put Western Sydney up 1, but they're not for long. Melbourne City want a return serve. Grosso takes it out to Henry. Goes for a run inside. Finds Otto. Finds Ekic in space. Ekic tripped over the ball. Apparently not an opposing player's foot. And if you are watching any of the other games in Unite round, Sydney FC playing in a grand final rematch against Western Sydney concurrently, and Courtney Vine, the Matilda star, has just put Sydney up 1-0. So that's going on 10 bold. And if you're watching with us, we encourage you to stay with us, of course. But if you want to flick around, there's 2 incredible games going on concurrently to finish Unite round. And Hughes sends it to Ekic. They want to put Ekic in space with space to shoot. Hughes to Garlich now. Hughes again takes a ping from range. And that's gone wide.
Look at the numbers here of Melbourne City who'd pushed up in that moment. There was 6 of them almost flat across that front line at one point. But we look at this, just slightly off balance. Well done by the Western Sydney defender, who I cannot name at this point in time. However, excellent defending there to put her off balance enough for that to sail high and wide.
So defence standing strong for Western Sydney. And attack have done their job so far. 1-0 up. Holly Caspers held there by Rebecca Stott. And it goes the way. The free goes to Caspers. The referee agrees with our assessment here in the commentary box. Price with the cutouts on the calves of her socks. Needs a little extra breathing room. It does get hot with the long socks. There's goalkeeper Lysiane Prue just directing traffic. So a long-range free kick. Amy Harrison, the captain, to take it. Plenty of movement outside the box. Harrison lofts it in, and that's sent out of danger by Rebecca Stott. Great defence by Melbourne City.
Great defence, but also great attack by Western Sydney there. Both are really putting each other to the test. This ball in by Harrison, well over the back line, headed back, and then Rebecca Stott doing what she does best, always getting that final touch in to make sure that it's out of the way and cleared.
It was in a very dangerous spot. Holly Casper's lurking, looking for a brace. There'll be a corner kick now, though, and Western Sydney Wanderers finding form. Ball in. Players up. It's bouncing around in the blender and booted high over the crossbar.
Another moment by Price where it's probably not the best option to shoot, but given the circumstances, she wants to get the ball in and around there.
So Melbourne City find their way out. Garlich. Oh, beautiful feed. Wilkinson caught offside once more.
It's coming close for Wilkinson. She's had a lot of close calls in the game so far. She's hungry for the ball. She's staying central, and it's really good to see that Melbourne City are using her to her true asset. So instead of expecting her to do all the running and hard work up the top, they're looking to play her in behind the goal and putting in some crosses for her to get a head on. The season where we saw her come out with that golden boot, that's how Melbourne City utilised her to her best ability.
So if the Wanderers win this match, Raleigh, the implications are massive. They will go into the top 6. If they can defend this lead now, they rocket up the ladder into 4th place. And that is massive. They've only had one finals berth in the history of the A-League. Western Sydney Wanderers just signed on coach Robbie Hooker on a 2-year deal. They are finding momentum, gathering pace. And there he is, Robbie Hooker, only 1 defeat in 7 matches with this result, if it stands. And of course, there is still plenty of time left to play, but he will be really hoping to maintain this lead. They've done well, Western Sydney, serving up exactly what Melbourne City usually serve up. So Policina comes off, and Ross Backen comes on. Fresh legs for Melbourne City. Can they get back on the scoreboard? Holly Caspers sends it in, looking for a player. No one home. Defence finds it first.
Interesting substitution. It's not necessarily like for like there. So I wonder if is Dario going to try and play more attacking? Is he going to focus and stick to his guns on playing this possession based? It's very interesting to see whether we'll have some positional changes here as well.
Carly Rossbakken just come on as the Western Sydney Wanderers take a corner kick. Headed away, not out of danger. Amy Harrison has a swing.
I believe there's a handball in there when she's gone for the swing, but another dangerous opportunity for Western Sydney. They're not necessarily great at putting these corners in, but they're in and around the ball. And that's what you need to get these shots on target and to get opportunities as well.
So Melbourne City in possession again. What can they conjure up? Rossbakken, her first touch of the match. Stott finds Torpy on the wing. Ekic, oh, lovely little step over. Beats 2 players in the process.
So here we go on that replay, yeah. So we had a handball there. Just one of those ones that clip up, and as you're maintaining your balance with your arms out, it hits it. Sometimes you can hide it, sometimes not.
Ekic to Rossbakken. Torpy in, has to save. Kaylee Collins gets a toe on it.
What a game she's having, Collins. I've been so impressed with her performance today. It's not just this season, but in particular today, she's manned her box area exceptionally well. This ball in by Torpy, pinpoint, Wilkinson's run in, and just a little nick on that can slip in through that front post. So excellent work by Collins there with her feet.
Another corner kick for Melbourne City. Here it is, a chance, headed over. And I think it was headed over by Kaylee Collins herself, the goalkeeper, with the clutch play. As we count down almost just over 10, probably 15 minutes to go. Ekic sent in a beautiful ball. It was probably too close to the keeper, but nearly found Otto.
What a hand again by Collins. She's really been a game changer for Western Sydney this season. Just her strength on the ball, her ability and perception and understanding of what is around her.
So repeat on the other side. Ekic. Ball in. Header from Wilkinson. Torpy maintains possession. Rosbakken working on two defenders, and they're happy to see it out. McComiskey and Caceres. Rosbakken, big throw in, straight to the Western Sydney Wanderers. Getting a little desperate here, Melbourne City. Playing out of sorts in many ways. That's not their usual brand. The possession game is their brand, and to rush shots and end up with a goal kick is not what Dario Vidicic usually coaches. So another sub for the Wanderers. Ferris comes on and Olivia Price comes off. Olivia Price had a great game so far. Fresh legs come on to defend the lead. Melbourne City have only had one loss this season, 8 wins on the season. They have 28 goals and they've not been able to find one today. Western Sydney Wanderers only have 14 goals all season, so you can see just how uneven this match is on paper. And yet, the Wonder Woman found their way up. 1-0 at home. Amy Harrison straight to Torpy. Wilkinson's in the box. Scarlich was too. Really calm under pressure, the Western Sydney Wanderers defence. Now Hughes, the referee, gets a touch too. Well done to Izzy Blais, almost helping it through.
I don't think the players realise what a drop ball is to this day still. Yes, the rules have changed, but you maintain possession if you've kicked it into the referee.
Doesn't happen too often, Raleigh. So an interesting little one there. Rosberg and Garlich working on, and Grosso tries to use the skills. There's a tangle. And that'll go the way of Western Sydney.
Surprised there's no yellow card there by Blais. Grosso grabbing hold of the leg, holding her down. We look at this great little tussle by these two. I've loved the battle. Up we get, and she's just held on, made sure that she gives her enough time so she can't break away for Western Sydney.
Stott in a foot race. Holly Caspers, dangerous zone. Lysiane Prue saves the day, boots it long. Western Sydney will maintain possession though, and they want to go again. Holly Caspers, but Grosso gets on the end of that one. Amy Harrison now moving forward. The captain finds Caspers in space. Caspers goes herself, left boot, straight to the keeper.
It's nice to see Western Sydney. There's just an air of calmness of them at the moment. They're feeling almost no pressure. They're not rushed. They're happy to just keep the ball, take it forward and continue to attack.
Apostolakis in a little tangle there, ends up with the free. Western Sydney move it forward. Harding hasn't found the scoreboard yet. Tries to go for a long-range shot, but too long range. Lysiane Prue rolls it back out. And here's the replay of that tangle with Apostolakis. And Wilkinson getting very physical in the battle. Possibly too physical.
I don't think Melbourne City are quite used to having this tighter contest. And that just shows how well Western Sydney have broken down their game plan, have focused on individual players and how to have these one-on-ones.
So another possession stat. It's very much the same story. Melbourne City with all the possession, 65% to the 35 of Western Sydney, and yet the scoreboard tells a different tale. Holly Casper's now in space on the right. Sophie Harding is there. It's swallowed up though. Ross Barkin with the left boot saves it. Caceres has a chance. No. Caspers goes back in, and that'll be easily saved by Lysiane Prue. Under pressure again, Melbourne City defence. They love to play out of the back line, but it's been their undoing.
Melbourne City need to start, they need to make a move now. Possession-based football only gets you so far. It's what you do with that possession. Yes, they've been making some opportunities, but they haven't finished anything. And maintaining that possession across your back line and switching it around this out wide doesn't necessarily go, it's helping their situation right now.
Garlich to Henry. Henry with a right knee heavily strapped. Uses her body to keep it out of the way. Grosso. Stott, the captain, long ball forward, finds Torpy. Does it sit? Shots on. Rossbakken had a ping, and it's pinged straight back out. All the way back to Lysiane Prue, the goalkeeper. Aerial ping pong ensues. Sophie Harding has to sprint, beats Stott. Sophie Harding on the right has a shot. Sorry, it's Caspers. My mistake. Apologies. Two speedsters of the same team, Western Sydney Wanderers. Caspers and Harding. Caspers has already found the scoreboard once, her first goal of the season, and had another shot right there.
It's not often that you see someone get past Rebecca Stott, but just an opportunity gone begging again.
Wilkinson, one-on-one with the keeper. Wilkinson rolls it past the right post. There was the chance. Hannah Wilkinson, her eyes lit up. The goalkeeper was high. But Kaylee Collins has defended her net as good as any goalkeeper can be expected to.
Look at this, driving run by Wilkinson, and just couldn't get enough on target to get that into the back of the net on the left-hand side of the keeper. But what end-to-end stuff we have here. Players are sweating on the field. I can tell you we're sweating here trying to call this with all the excitement of these teams end-to-end.
So if Western Sydney can maintain the lead here, they would get their third consecutive win, which is equal to their longest ever winning streak. It really heralds the eve of a new chapter with Robbie Hooker at the helm. Melbourne City really need to start playing fast.
We'd also see 4 different styles of teams in the top 4. So just looking here now, an unusual substitution here happening. We've got Naomi Thomas-Chinema coming on. And she's known as a pure defensive player for Wilkinson.
So Chinema comes on and Wilkinson off. After a number of chances Wilkinson hasn't been able to find net. Chinema, can she spark something for Melbourne City? They won't do it this way. They need to get up the other end. They love to play out the back from Lysiane Prue, the Canadian goalkeeper.
The rain started to fall again here at Bankwest, and it looks like Rebecca Stott has pushed up a little bit at times. No, she's still sitting in the back line. So very unusual tactics by Dario Vidicic here, but it could pay off.
Well, Garlich takes a little knock. Grosso, cross ball, and that's offside. It's caught out once again. Melbourne City, this is the theme of their afternoon as the rain starts to fall. Pressure mounting.
We look at this ball. Tight call in some aspects, but clearly offside. Right idea to put the ball across. You can see Melbourne City are trying to put all their numbers forward, but the time is falling away now. So Western Sydney, no doubt, are just keen to keep playing as they have been, getting that ball forward.
Henry was just offside, although in a great position. She's on the ball again now. Finds Ekic. If anyone can spark the game, Ekic can. Sends it out wide. Rosbakken. Work to do. An upset unfolding at Combank Stadium. The final moments of Unite round. Still got stoppage time to play as the rain starts to fall here in Western Sydney. Raining on the parade of the Melbourne City League leaders. Ball comes in for Sophie Harding. Kicks it to herself and a header. And the aggression of the opposition wins her a free. Slips over in the rain. And that's probably helped her case for the free kick. They're in no rush to play it now, Western Sydney.
Yeah, Sophie Harding doing well to play this into her own hands. Carly quite frustrated, making sure that Harding, she's put herself down on the ground to win that foul. So well played by the attacker.
Kush LaRue with Torpy. Torpy wins it, but Bruce heads it back. It'll be a free, and it's a foot race. Goalkeeper has to come out really high, picks it up. So 4 minutes of stoppage time to play out here at Combank Stadium. 4 minutes to defend the lead that no one expected for the Western Sydney Wanderers.
4 minutes is still a long time as a player. I've known too many times watching that clock counting down, and we've got Caspers. Oh.
Caspers, one-on-one, Chinamar puts a shoulder down. No free, says the referee. Rain falling heavily now. Caspers maintains the possession for her side. Another substitution being made. Eunice will come on.
For Caspers, quite surprising, don't you think, Kate, with the work rate that she's put on?
It is a little surprising, especially given the situation they were just in, and Coley Caspers had so much to say about it. She's the scorer, she's the difference maker in the team, and she is always involved in scoring opportunities. She's got 5 assists on the season. She leads the league with assists, and yet she's come off now. So maybe just a fitness thing, and it may be a decision to defend the lead. Eunice might be the better person with fresh legs to do so. Tight contest in the corner. Pinging around. And a goal kick goes the way of Melbourne City. Chinamar involved in that defensive effort. Stott. Ekic. Ekic cutting through to the left, goes centre field, long ball, and that's a bit wasted.
No, you can see the frustration. Not the smartest decision by Ekic there. She's had a great game, but clearly frustrated with the lack of goals coming from Melbourne City. I'm sure their fans feel the same. But you've got to give credit to Western Sydney Wanderers as well as Robbie Hooker for how they've played out this game. And we look in the replay, driving forward, and she's just gone for that long-range shot with not much really on target or coming out of it.
Sophie Harding does not want to put the brakes on despite there being less than 2 minutes to go. Still putting pressure on the defence. Lucianne Prue in goals. Melbourne City with a throw-in. Possibly 1 or 2 more attacking sprays with the time ticking down. McComiskey there on screen in the defence for Western Sydney Wanderers. Chinamar off the bench. Hoofs it into Harding. Harrison, sorry, the captain for the Wanderers. There's an appeal. And that'll be a corner kick.
We look at this. So we've batted it in. It's ricocheted off. And they've somehow managed to come off with a corner in the end. Yes, it was with a final touch. But this could be one of the final opportunities for Melbourne City with this downpour of rain. Something could skid off someone.
Rain falling heavily. Chaos ball into the blender. Off the fingertips, still in danger. Stott with the volley. Melbourne City's last-ditch attempt. Body's in the way. Grosso has a ping. Ekic has a ping, and it's well high. With 4 minutes of stoppage time, I think that will almost do it. Ekic is not pleased with that attempt.
We look at this. Ricochet after ricochet here.
It was Hughes, my mistake. Similar hairstyles, the two of them. Harrison corralling her team, getting them up. The home side, the fans that are left in the stadium. Get on your feet, Western Sydney. This is an historic win for Western Sydney. 3 wins in a row. It equals the club record. They have done the upset. They have felled the giant. The David and Goliath battle played out the way no one expected. Western Sydney women take down Melbourne City and they rocket up into the top 6. Final score, Western Sydney Wanderers 1 off the boot of Holly Caspers, her first goal for the season. Melbourne City 0 at full time. Wow, what an impressive match. These are the highlights, and the pressure coming from both teams, I think, was the theme of the match. Melbourne City, with plenty of opportunities, couldn't find the net. That one off the woodwork. Policina feeding Wilkinson a number of times. One-on-one with the keeper there, and Ekic, who started after a niggling injury last week, just couldn't find her way through, Riley.
No, she could not. And then another opportunity here. We had the handball. Policina putting it wide, and Kaylee Collins showing why she, in my opinion, was the player of the match for Western Sydney Wanderers. And then this mistake coming from Peru. Once again, Melbourne City trying to play out under pressure, and a beautiful chip by Caspers, knowing how high she plays off her line. She plays as a sweeper and went, let's take advantage of this. We don't need to play pretty football to win this. It was not the day for Melbourne City, but what a day for Western Sydney Wanderers, which this puts them up into the top 4, and well deserved after everything that they've done to prepare for this game.
So the Western Sydney Wanderers go into 4th position on the Liberty A-League ladder, and the stats are so lopsided. The possession particularly 66% in favour of Melbourne City to 34 for the Wanderers, but they made the most of their shots. Tackles won. Wanderers won a lot more. You'll notice 19-8. Passing accuracy was high for Melbourne City, and almost double, or more than double, the passing number. So total passes 512 to 250 for Western Sydney Wanderers. But Holly Caspers is the hero of the day for Western Sydney. Finds the net for the first time this season. A goal for Holly Caspers, the difference maker in this side's win. It's 1-0 to Western Sydney Wanderers. Thank you to you for watching at home. Thank you to you, Riley. It's been a pleasure calling Unite Round. Kate Allman here. As the rain falls in Western Sydney, raining on the parade of Melbourne City, but jubilation for Western Sydney Wanderers. We'll see you next week for more Liberty A-League action.